The first march on Washington, dubbed the Women's Suffrage Procession, was scheduled for March 3rd, 1913, the day before President Woodrow Wilson's first inauguration on March 4th, and it quickly turned to disaster. Provocateurs disrupted the procession, blocking its path and yelling epithets at the suffragettes. The police were negligently slow to respond, and a full-scale riot broke out, discrediting the movement and its leader, Alice Paul. Later, when Wilson entered office, the suffragettes went to see him and urged him to do something about women's rights. He refused, saying that he had more important things to tend to, such as economic and foreign policy. The suffragettes had every reason to be bitter, and certainly could have chosen to create a conflict, but they did something better. They created a dilemma. Small bands of silent sentinels picketed the White House with phrases lifted from President Wilson's own book, published just a few years earlier. How could he object without appearing to be a tremendous hypocrite to signs that read, "Liberty is a fundamental demand of the human spirit, and we are interested in the United States, politically speaking, in nothing but liberty," when he was, in fact, the very author of those same words. Later, when he declared war against Germany and its allies, the suffragettes once again carried Wilson's words. Wilson had two choices. He could have voiced support for women's right to vote, or he could have had the women arrested to stop their picketing. He chose the latter, and when the brutal treatment the women endured in captivity became public, the movement for women's suffrage won even more support, damaging Wilson politically. The president would ultimately have to surrender. Just a few years later, on August 18th, 1920, the 19th Amendment was ratified, finally giving women the right to vote. Notice the three crucial elements of a dilemma action. A shared value in the form of Wilson's own statements. A constructive act in the form of peacefully picketing the White House with Wilson's words. And a forced decision. Wilson either had to have the women forcibly removed or let them to continue to humiliate him for his hypocrisy. Since then, dilemma actions have become a crucial tool for anyone who wants to create change in any context. So if you're seeking to create transformational change and you're confronted with opposition and resistance, don't create a conflict, create a dilemma.